Good evening, welcome. This is episode 42 of Can an Album Be Written? Although that question is becoming less and less relevant as I go forward, but something to maybe think about a rename coming up, if that can be done. But still working on a new project. Maybe I shouldn't stick with that naming convention. If you like what's in here, please like it or subscribe to it or do whatever you feel is appropriate, and anything would be much appreciated. 1, 2, 3. So essentially what I'm doing is flipping back and forth between these two. I've got remember how many, there we go. So not so many takes of the drums, 6 takes of the drums, and then 48 takes of the guitar pipe. And so basically I'm like doing a batch of like 10 or 12 guitar rehearsals with the drum beat in the background, and then maybe going back and adjusting the drum beat. The drums are played entirely on the LP D8, and that was to the click track originally. I then played a version of the guitar that I was happy enough with, was in time enough that I could then try just playing the drum pipe back with the LPDA and no click. So I recorded that to the guitar, and then I think I went back to the guitar. Did that over again, like another 10 or 12, and so that process has gone on. Had the click on, click off, and yeah, it's laborious. I have to say it is laborious. I'm enjoying it because I enjoy playing music. So, you know, it's not a hard task, but it is it is work. It requires time and it requires patience. And the more I do this, the more I understand that. Like it's becoming more and more apparent to me that, you know, this endless repetition of a principle is in fact the behaviour that's going to hopefully create some form of success, by whatever measure that happens to be. And you know, success could be just the completion of the album. That's the terms I'm thinking in. But I like that idea. I'm getting into the frame of mind that's how I'm going to start just doing things as a general rule in regards to this project. And I'm happy with that. It's not a bad place to be with it. You know, and I probably should be clear. Like, I think it's if you see the trailer for the channel, you know, I'm not suggesting I have any special knowledge here. This is a process that I'm going through in the shed. I'm just doing it over and over again, and you know, there's a few people that I would recommend certainly as a source of knowledge. I am not one of them. You know, guys like Rick Beato, Warren Hurt, a whole host of them have far better channels in regards to any kind of, you know, tutorials on anything. That's not what I'm about here. This is simply about just recording my process and learning as I go. So yeah, and you know, as to that, one thing I can definitely say is that be wary of gear spread. It's like an infection. It's or a virus of some sort, which is rich, seeing as we're now in COVID at the moment, and financially, you know, things are precarious. But Jesus, you know, I was just about to spend a tenner on a set of cables just simply because I think this one is slightly too long, and I'm dissatisfied with that. It just goes on endlessly, and you know, it's not necessary. I've got I've got about what I need, I think, to be able to do this, and I could certainly do it with less. Um, so, um, and maybe actually being more inventive with the stuff that you have is a better strategy than just going out and getting everything you feel like you need. I think that's probably a truism, and one we could all do with sort of thinking about at times. I certainly don't do it enough. Anyway, all that to be said, I'm getting on with it. Like it's coming together. I think what I actually have now is a verse, pre-chorus, verse, pre-chorus, and then where I need to go is chorus. I feel to a certain extent that sort of, I was in a band when I was at university. How many years ago was that? Like 20 years ago now. I'm 45 this year, so it was 26 when I first went to university. So slightly less, 18 years ago. Yeah, probably 17. This story, 17 years ago, this would be from. And I was writing at the time with a guy called Paul Blakely, who to this day is one of the I think if I was to think back like in terms of songwriting, I someone who I hadn't come across someone who could tell a story with chords in the same way that Paul could, and so it was really interesting writing with him. I certainly at the time, and maybe less so now, I'd like to think, but probably still very much in the same vein. I'm not as nuanced as he was, certainly. So I used to, yeah, and we got to a point where we were writing where we could start to make decisions about what we were going to do with a particular song. It was an unusual place for me to have been in at the time. Because I'd never felt like that before, and it feels like an unusual place that I'm in right now at the moment, because certainly with the last tune and now with this tune shaping up this way, and a few others now that have been in here, I am writing the music for the lyrics, and I'm putting the tune together before I'm putting any kind of melody to it. Now, saying that, I have started on some lyrics for this. You probably can't see that. Oh, there you go. A couple of stanzas, but they have come after I put together the sort of structure that I'm working towards and the musical basis for what is going to then dictate the melody that the lyrics are going to be sung in. I like that. I like the song to have no meaning. It feels like I'm kind of painting some kind of canvas that I can then creating some kind of canvas that I can then paint on. But that's going to be rich, right? Because yeah, I don't know quite how to describe that. I'm not creating a canvas because a canvas has a painting on it, and I feel like I'm making a painting. But it's kind of like I'm drawing the background, and all of the rest of it still needs to be filled in, the colour and the pomp and the ceremony and the all of those other bits and pieces. And I'm just getting the basis down, but I'm trying to do it with some nuance in there. So, you know, now I'm enjoying the process, and I'm confident enough that since there's no fucker watching this channel, that I'm not really getting any judgment on it, and I have no idea whether or not what I'm doing is objectively good as pieces of music. I think that's a very hard judgment to make without a widespread audience, to have some kind of actual data on it. So, but I'm building a system by which I do things, and that in itself is, you know, has a value all in itself. And every refinement I make, or every twist in the sort of story of how I do things, sort of comes up, the richer everything becomes, and I'm yeah, I like that. So yeah, I'm gonna bring this one to a close, and hopefully see you soon. Bye.